All right, now we're starting out. My microphone was off for whatever reason. Let's get Instagram ready to go and get a few things sorted out. Yeah, so it shouldn't take us too long to set up 100%. The only thing I gotta really do is Instagram, I guess. Instagram's the most annoying one. So it should only take me like 10, 20 minutes. 10, 20 minutes. Like 5 minutes to do at most. I'm becoming sort of efficient at it. I know the steps, so it's easy to do. Hopefully we'll start in a few minutes. But there is something I want to look at. And this is from TomDark too, so he's probably one of my favorite commentary videos. He does a lot of good stuff, guys. Okay, that's all done. Okay, let's turn on Short and Instagram. All right, hopefully now they've both been started up. Okay, great. Now let's go into here, remove console, and have you running. Great, ready to go, guys. You can see it down there, TomDark down there. You can see space right here. I think we're ready to go. Just make sure it's running. I'm hoping it's running. Yeah, there it is. And is that running too? That's working perfectly. Yep. And now we'll just go to Instagram, which I think's working. Yep, Instagram's working too. This is how efficient we've become at, guys. I've got to a point where I've learned how to do things and how to get started. So we can get straight to it now. Now I'm going to turn my sound down because I don't know how loud it's going to be. I might have it on speed too, guys, just to make it a little bit faster, unless he's too fast. So I like watching these big videos, guys. So I'll do the big stream videos, well, these like 50, like the long ones. The long ones will be like over 30 minutes or something. The shorter ones, the more updated stuff, they'll be like my shorter videos. Anyway, let's get started. Let's enjoy this. I'll see what we've got to say today.
Channel that posts every day. You guys will have to tell me which Norwood this is.
I don't know, dude.
If you watch the vids, I usually cover things and people to whom there's a really nasty sort of negative side to explore.
Nah.
It happens that's a pretty interesting subject area. But every once in a while, there is a story that's kind of clear cut with like a good, likable guy and a satisfying ending. That
okay, this is not where we want to go.
L's, C's, and P's. Some people are actually doing good work, and one of them is Ross from the channel Accursed Farms. If you've
never heard of him
long enough in YouTube's gaming community, you're probably familiar with the Freeman's Mind series, which is basically a playthrough of Half-Life, but the commentary consists of Ross basically speaking from the perspective of the game's protagonist, Gordon Freeman.
Oh,
okay.
I see a bowl of noodles with my name on it.
Now, I know nowadays that may seem kind of underwhelming compared to what modern gaming YouTubers are getting up to. But you got to keep in mind that Freeman's Mind came out in the ancient year of 2007, back when 30 Seconds to Mars and 3 Days Grace was still on the radio. Or like the cat with the keyboard. At that point in time, there were no real Let's Plays with commentary, okay? We were still 3 years away from PewDiePie. So anyone doing gaming content with their own voice as commentary was by definition kind of an early adopter. So that immediately put Ross kind of up there with other early internet legends. I made a Turkey Tom video about this recently where I
so what's this got to do with pirate software?
He is sort of in that category. They've both stuck around since then. They've both gotten involved in controversies, but regardless, they both were kind of immediately considered correct in the winning party. But while AVGN's Ghostbusters controversy came and went in a very brief window of time, kind of controversy has been dragging on for years at this point. And although you've probably heard bits and pieces of it from the
inferior commentary channels.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Superior.
Well, I don't consider myself commentary. I consider myself more a reaction gaming channel, guys.
The gist of what Ross is doing and why he's doing it without understanding the greater context. Ross comes from an era and a community that grew up with and was very familiar with having hard copies of games. As in, you would go to GameStop, you would go
and buy it. Yep, we know. I know the drill.
That a cartridge, and then the game is just on that little disc. Okay, like Crazy, I know, but that is how it was. And on top of that, if you had a friend that wanted to play that game with you but couldn't afford it, your options were to give your copy to him or rip that game onto a CD and then send that to him, and then it'll be in a playable state. It had to be a hard copy.
But Tom, isn't that piracy and illegal?
You may be saying, as your Fortnite
Technically, yeah, it is.
brain sort of just melts. Okay, you can't understand it. The fact of the matter is, back then, this kind of thing was very common, especially in the community that Ross.
I mean, it was illegal, but no one really cared.
It was just like normal. For example, around the same time that Ross was making his name on YouTube, there was other channels like ICTON. They made stuff like Idiots of Gary's Mod and John Freeman. Then there was Das Bullshit, who made the Gmod Idiot Box. There was
God.
0706, who had a very fire soundtrack. Okay, I heard him rocking that Data Remember. Rest in peace. It's not a coincidence that a lot of these guys relied heavily on Gary's Mod for their content, and Ross relied on Half-Life, all of which is owned by Valve, who has a history of facilitating user-generated content. Whether it be their very friendly relationship.
All right, I think I'm getting the idea where he's getting at, guys.
Releasing the source code for TF2 more recently, Valve has fostered a community.
All right, let's take.
For better or worse,
I like doing these videos, guys. But after this, I will be playing a game. I don't know what exactly. Probably Forza again. I want to get that out the way as fast as possible, so yeah, I'll be concentrating on that.
Meaning that his aim as the head of Valve was always to offer a better service rather than pursue pirates to the ends of the earth to curb their activities, which makes sense. Now, yeah,
of course it does.
Valve is perfect. There are some problems.
No company's perfect, Tom, as you should know.
Obviously, they kind of forced the transition to CS2 from CSGO, and most importantly, the thing we're going to talk about today is that they kind of operate on the same legal basis of DRM and game licensing as every other platform. If you're not too familiar with video games, this may sound like complete gibberish to you, but when you're a real gamer, okay, and this starts happening, you'll start to understand. Basically what this means is that when you buy a game on Steam, you're actually buying a license to play the game. Obviously,
technically that's how digital works. Yeah, it sucks, but it's how it works.
More than a lot of other media platforms can say, but your license to the game can technically be revoked at any moment by them. While this may sound scary, this is actually the standard for any media that's covered by copyright. Because
reminds me, guys, I forgot to hit the record button again. I gotta record it.
Additionally, while Steam doesn't require this, a lot of games on Steam require DRM.
Sorry, guys. For you guys watching this, I forgot to hit the record button again. This is becoming a big issue. I keep forgetting to hit the record. You only missed about 5 minutes, and it's not really too much information, so it's okay. All right, we just continue from here.
And Steam enforces it, meaning some games, which are multiplayer or otherwise, can need an internet connection in order for them to function. As far as I know, the only relevant platform that offers DRM-free software is GOG, but it is worth noting that there are a lot of Steam games that don't have any DRM, including massive games like the one and only, perhaps the greatest game of all time, Batman Arkham Asylum. Amnesia is another example. You guys probably know Amnesia.
I'm just in this guy's crotch, so I don't know.
And even some of Valve's own.
That looks weird.
Too. Now, despite the technicalities having always been the same, which is to say that it's in the favor of gaming corporations, things used to be different. Games were de facto products, and they were treated as such, partly because they were always meant to be sold as physical copies. But things began to change in the modern age when games increasingly became digital media rather than a physical copy. While Steam didn't change too much, and PC gaming as a whole remained intact, the world of consoles began to radically shift. These massive player bases started to be dumped on company-run networks.
I don't like the sound of that.
Required you to be always online to function properly, which instantly led to huge crises like the 2011 PSN outage that lasted for nearly 1 month.
Every PS3 is down right now, not just yours, not just mine. Every PS3 is down right now. It's not your fault. It's not your DSL. It's not your modem. It's not Cox. It's not DSL. It's not your router. It's not anything. It's not your fault. It's fucking Sony's fault.
And then there was the fumble of the decade for Microsoft, who followed up their generational, classic, amazing Xbox 360 with the, I would say, mediocre at best Xbox One in 2013. While the reasons for the Xbox One...
I never had a problem with the Xbox One, but a lot of people didn't.
Revolve around Microsoft trying to turn their new gaming console into a digital library Swiss Army knife. It did a lot of different things, but it didn't do any of them that well. Consequently, it wasn't a very attractive console, especially
I bet it wasn't.
Exclusives that gradually got worse over time, until they introduced a concept in 2017.
That's true. Halo's got pretty bad.
Simultaneously been a centerpiece.
I don't really play it, but I do know enough people who do.
This is called the Game Pass. On one hand, Game Pass made a lot of really expensive games.
I think I'm getting to the point where he's getting to it now. Now I'm understanding why he's talking like this. I like it how he talks it like a story. It's nice and it's easy to read and understand.
major issues. Firstly, these games have become increasingly aggressive.
I like it. He's quick, so you don't need to pass to speed this up at all.
Will always be affected by Game Pass anyway.
Sometimes you get slow people, and we gotta speed up.
And then I remember there was like an increase to $60. Now it seems like the premium price for a lot of games is 70 to 80 bucks. Obviously, Game Pass wasn't the only factor that contributed to this. There's also the economy, inflation, whatever that means. But due to a lot of extremely negative backlash, it seems that a lot of gaming companies are kind of hesitant to get into the $80 territory today. They're walking it back. Now, the other problem here is that despite there being a lot of previous examples of games that ran on subscription services, Game Pass specifically was pivotal in nudging the entire games industry closer to a model that is now widely recognized as games as a service. Essentially,
games as a service.
Widely hated gaming buzzword, right? Microtransactions, pay to win, gotcha mechanics, and some otherwise very aggressive monetization tactics that are
I'm not really a big fan of MPAT.
Almost all of
that looks right.
Associated with games as a service. Making money off of the sale of a game was just not enough for these companies anymore. They wanted more. Because these companies didn't want to just make money off of the player's playtime. They needed to do it. Have you noticed the trend of these big single-player games becoming less and less common, and then these like indie single-player games occupying more of that space? Meanwhile, these big game dev companies increasingly focus their efforts on live service games that are structured not just to keep you playing, but also to keep you paying. Now, while these
I noticed that.
Necessarily games as a service in and of themselves, they often go hand in hand, as do things like Game Pass. Basically, all of the things that kind of inconvenience or...
That is true. I don't like it, but it is what it is.
You buy a game, and then you get the full game, and then there's no more payment necessary, and you keep it forever.
That's old news, buddy.
Now, there's always
that is old news.
In the online gaming community that have expressed their displeasure with this whole situation, but
I think this is what gaming's taking a nosedive, by the way.
In the year of 2009,
that's why I don't play a lot of games anymore, guys. I kind of... I do play a lot, I just don't play a lot of new ones.
Ross decided to start working toward a solution. Now, the unique element of his approach to this issue is that Ross used kind of an axis to attack the issue. This issue being the killing of games.
Oh god, I don't like the sound of this.
In a video titled "Games as a Service is Fraud," he highlights the difference between a game that explicitly operates on a rental or subscription system like RuneScape or World of Warcraft, and contrasts that with the industry-wide practice of games as a service, which markets products as if they were conventional products they'll always be able to engage with, when in actuality, they are online-only privileges that the company behind the game is giving you temporary access to. To kind of quickly sum it up, this can be boiled down to something called perpetual licenses, which is what games are supposed to be as a product. You buy something, and then you get to engage with that content for as long as you maintain your instance of it. You're allowed to maintain it, you're allowed to repair it, you're allowed to modify it in whatever way you want, and the company isn't allowed to revoke your access because of whatever you do to that media. While there are some exceptions like cheating in multiplayer games that are by the company which owns it, and obviously the cheating will actively harm other people's playing experiences.
Oh yeah, definitely cheats. I hate him.
Place games in the category of goods, not services. Now, Ross uses this to then go over legislation concerning games in multiple parts of the world and connects it to cases where games as a service were killed, meaning they were shut down in such a way where the people who bought the game weren't provided with the means to keep the game running themselves, whether it be offline on their own hardware or through player-run dedicated servers. And the result of all of this was the thesis of his video. When you buy a game and the company that runs it shuts it down without providing you with a refund or a way to keep playing on your own without company-run servers, they are essentially defrauding you of what you're paying for. This obviously ties into things like digital media preservation efforts and right to repair advocacy that, Louis Rossman talks about a lot, as well as a lot of the other things that I mentioned before, but mainly, this is about getting people to be able to keep what they paid for. To make this sort of idea exceedingly clear, because some people like to misinterpret it, while the games as a service model is tangential to things like Game Pass, live service games and MMORPGs, microtransactions, pay-to-win mechanics, in-game gambling, etc., etc., etc.,
actually, I'm learning a lot from this, guys. Actually, a lot of this information I didn't even know. But even though I'm playing with my phone, my brain's there, I just don't...
Additionally, Ross doesn't just point out a problem and whine about it. he's also actively looking for solutions. At the end of his video, he asked for people with expertise on the subject matter to email him with potential actions to move forward with the case. Now, for almost half a decade, all of the developments on this front for this movement were behind the scenes. But the first venue through which this movement began was with Ubisoft's game called The Crew. Now, this is
yes, this I remember.
of Ross's case, because The Crew actually had a single-player campaign, and although it had a heavy emphasis on its multiplayer mode, it wasn't massive multiplayer. It had a maximum of 8 players per session. And the reason why that's important is because this is something that a local player-run server could easily operate. Despite that, 9 years after its release, The Crew was completely shut down, and you couldn't even play the single-player campaign anymore. This game was literally vanishing from people's libraries, as if they had never bought it at all.
Yeah, which really sucks.
Now, at the time, refunds were offered to people who had recently bought the game, but due to the fact that the game was literally 9 years old at that point, the crushing majority of its player base had bought it many years prior and therefore were ineligible for a refund. But the issue isn't really that players wanted refunds. That's like a band-aid to the real problem.
Yeah, it sounds like a band-aid.
They wanted their game, or they wanted the ability to set up their own servers to keep playing the game. Now, insult was quickly added to injury here because at the time, the director of subscriptions at Ubisoft, Philippe Tremblay, he said possibly one of the most dystopian things that you could ever imagine. One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow more comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That has not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable while not owning your game. I still have 2 boxes of DVDs. I definitely understand the gamer's perspective with that. But as people embrace that model, they will see that these games will exist. The service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. Streaming is also a thing that works really well with subscription. So you pay when you need it, as opposed to paying all the time. Now, the obvious wrinkle in this hellish 2070 paradigm shift,
I don't know what he's...
Because we're just gonna kill him.
Is that streaming services are explicitly temporary. You're not buying movies, you're paying for a service to watch whatever they
Screw
have.
that.
On some streaming services like Prime Video, you have the option to rent movies, but once again, you're explicitly told that you're renting them. The same thing is the case here with YouTube's movie rental service.
Yep, exactly the
YouTube
same.
also has the added benefit that you can actually buy the movies on there, and you'll not only be able to stream them
It's true. I mean, everything he's saying is correct. I mean, I disagree with him.
That is the case now. I don't think that'll always be a feature. I'm sure they'll rug pull that at some point. Additionally, I think it's also worth saying that renting movies was already a thing well before the internet and the current landscape
Of course it was.
Streaming and digital media.
Blockbuster was a big thing back in the day.
Explicitly told that it was a rental, not a regular purchase. What Tremblay is talking about here isn't a slow transformation. He's talking about
Sounds like a dead
of slowly boiling water, and he expects the frogs, which are the players, the customers, to not notice that it's heating up. It is a rug pull, not a choice by the client. If it was a choice by the client, then there would be no issue. In fact, I think if it was a choice, people would probably engage with it much more comfortably, much like people use streaming services like Netflix or Spotify, both of which offer features where you can download movies and music that you still like so you can access it offline. That is the minimum standard of expectation. And people in the gaming industry were chomping at the bit to fail to meet that expectation.
I mean, I kind of agree with him. There's nothing here to disagree at the moment.
From January to March of that year, Ross signaled that he, along with the people he was communicating with, were ready to go all in on this crew situation. And by
oh yeah, definitely.
The campaign that he, along with a certain someone, became so notorious for. Stop killing games. Now, in the announcement video for the campaign, he explains that he'd been looking for a sort of weak link in the industry where he could start his efforts, and the crew was perfect since the game was legally tied to France, which had gotten pretty generous with consumer protection laws. And because of the nice consumer protection laws, this meant there was the potential for a class action lawsuit against Ubisoft. And the website provided people with a few resources and institutions to contact, which led to the creation of 3 petitions. There was one in Australia, there was one in the UK, and there was one in Canada. But unfortunately, none of them yielded any significant results. They were all closed early, or they were responded to by their respective governments in some very dissatisfactory ways. Fortunately, this was just the beginning, okay? It wasn't over.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
Everyone involved in the SKG Double Down was not about to give up. In June 2024, the biggest campaign yet was started, which is the European Citizens Initiative to Stop Destroying Video Games. Now, although this was just a petition, it was slightly different than what we saw saw previously because it pointed at the European Union. And apparently, with the European Union, there's a formal process for petitions to make their way to legislature. And that means if this one was successful, then it would be one of Ross and SKG's best chances to really make a change. However, this sort of streamlined process was paired with a much higher ask than the other petitions.
I don't like the sound of that.
Initiative to hold any weight, it would have to collect a whopping 1,400,000 signatures from legitimate citizens of the European Union. But it did start out very well. It quickly attracted a lot of the attention of certain members.
I mean, I think a lot of people, when you think of it, regardless of any country.
Objectives. Now, Ross then announced the initiative to his YouTube audience, and he was like, hey, go take a look at this. This video now has 250,000 views. Now, 250,000 views is not bad at all. But of course, you have to consider that only a fraction of those views are from the European Union, and only a fraction of the people within the European Union who see that video will go through the trouble of signing the petition. Now, when
True, it'll take a lot of effort. I mean,
until the petition's deadline,
I'm kind of enjoying this. This is actually kind of interesting stuff.
They need to get. But before the European Union initiative and SKG at large could start accumulating momentum and really build up support in other parts of the world, a sort of roadblock came in their way. And that roadblock was named Jason Hall.
Yes, this guy.
And I guess it's honestly fitting that a worldwide campaign against fraud had a absolute fraud as its first kind of opposer, as its first boss fight. But if you want to learn more about that, you can go watch the new video by this guy. His name is Tom. He makes good videos. Anyway, at this point, there was roughly
It's you dumbass.
SKG related material that was easily accessible online that Jason Thor Hall could have perused if he really wanted to learn about.
Yeah, he's got a lot of issues, guys.
One problem, and that problem is that he didn't want to learn about it. Much like pretty much all of his other interests and hobbies, Jason only learned about the absolute surface level talking points of SKG, and he then misinterpreted all of them and regurgitated it to his audience like a bird.
It's going to keep happening. I'm not surprised, but to be real with you, I can't back that process. I can't. As written, the language is too vague. It doesn't solve the root issue, and it creates a litany of new issues. So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. The way that they're going about it...
No, I don't know if that's what
that makes it so that even live service games could be caught in this net.
You don't need to remove or even radically alter DRM to achieve SKG's goals.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was looking at that and like, no, you don't. That's got nothing to do with it.
Playing the game after support has stopped. The most complicated that this can get.
He completely ignored it. It's whether he's so stupid or
run their own servers, which isn't that complicated, especially for these companies that have the resources to run live service games.
Goodness gracious, guys! It's gotta start getting back out there nowadays.
Really hard or not necessarily super doable. Sure, but that's why it's important that the campaign isn't retroactive, meaning it wouldn't demand that a game that's been dead for 30 years or 10 years or even 5 years suddenly gets resurrected and brought back from the dead, and then there's all this bullshit that comes with it. What it means is that from the point of this getting legislated overall, all games made onward will have this in mind because it's going to be the law. Precisely so that it's never too hard for a company to carry out a reasonable end-of-life plan for their game. No one is deliberately going out of their way to make the life of these devs harder. All that SKG stands for is that the current situation is stacked up against the consumer and something should be done about it. Additionally, there are some parallel but equally egregious cases where SKG could potentially come in handy. For example, everybody knows that companies like Nintendo go out of their way to shut down sites that provide ROM downloads for their games.
No, no one noticed that.
That are otherwise extremely inconvenient. Or even impossible.
You should, dude.
For example, some older titles require you to buy a Nintendo Switch and then subscribe to a service or multiple services within the Switch network in order to gain access to those games. I personally would say that that falls into the category of unusually inconvenient, considering that the technology to emulate games on a computer has existed for 2 decades at this point. When I was like 10 years old, we had this on the iPhone, okay? GBA for iOS. Shit was litty. And here, I'm only talking about Nintendo-specific titles that Nintendo themselves made, because there are plenty of old games that were developed for Nintendo consoles, but were made by other third-party companies. And plenty of those are simply not legally available, unless you somehow manage to get a physical copy of them and also own a working console that they're meant to be played on, which can be 10, 20, 30 years old at this point. So I think it's not impossible to see how this can get extremely inconvenient real fast.
And messy.
Meanwhile, they could just have an official website where you can pay $20 and get a playable copy of a game, and that would basically fix it. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not what SKG is about, because SKG focuses primarily on games that already have been bought, usually in a digital form, and these games are then removed from the customer's game library. However, this is parallel to SKG's concerns, and I think personally it's definitely something to be worried about. The point of this is not to destroy DRM or to allow piracy. The point is just to provide a reasonable alternative to piracy. By all means, if these games are legally available online, then these companies are justified in taking down platforms that offer pirated versions of the game. The problem is that they don't. One sort of parallel example of companies making it inconvenient for you to get their games is the original GTA trilogy, which as far as I know, you can only get if you're on PC and you go directly to their website and use their launcher, because the only available version on Steam and other platforms is the original definitive edition, which is extremely different from the original version and much worse.
One of my girls needs a ride, so grab a car and pick up Misty from the clinic, then bring her back here. Remember, no one messes with my girls.
A.
She was a whore.
B. She hit me.
But eventually Jason's mind sort of started working a little bit, all right? The cogs started moving just a little bit, and he came up with the kind of obvious counterpoint to his argument about how SKG could destroy live service games.
The way that they're going about it is using very vague language that makes it so that even
All right, so let's keep doing this, guys.
could be caught in this net, which means every multiplayer game
Oh, that's
is caught in the net, and they have to put in caveats such as allowing people to run private servers and so on and so forth after the game dies in order for them to even make it in the first place. Government run initiative. I can't back this, dude. I can't. It is too goddamn vague.
Unlike his previous point, which to me seems to be the result of just ignorance, this one is just plain dishonesty. Jason, as a game dev, or at least somebody who pretends to be a game dev, should know that players...
Yeah, I don't believe that for 5 seconds, by the way.
They're pretty common, even in the indie world. He later adds something about how things like leaderboards, levels, and other...
He made a game that's half done.
Players can't provide an alternative. But the thing is, even if that were the case, which it isn't, losing progress, losing characters, or losing cosmetics in a game, I would say that that is preferable to losing the entire game. He also randomly calls it a government-run initiative.
Government run.
I don't know why he's doing that. I guess it's to fearmonger the people behind it. The truth is...
It's got nothing to do with the government. Hello, dude. What's going on? I'm just enjoying ourselves with watching a bit of Turkey Tom.
And given that there is a vetting process for...
So this was just something different. Normally I do a lot of gaming stuff. I will be doing gaming after this at some point.
He could know
Quite like after half an hour or something.
This, okay? But instead he opted against that because he's dense. To summarize Jason's position on this topic, he believes that game developers and publishers should be able to do whatever they want to their customers, and the customer should be okay with it.
No, that's not how it works in real life. I didn't see that.
What isn't government overreach, however, is when companies weaponize IP laws to have the government take down anyone who makes their games available. When that happens, it's actually good. Very good. Now, later on in this little argument that he's giving, he tries to make it out like private servers are an impossible thing for people to do for these massive multiplayer games. But then he has an epiphany.
It's not impossible, by the way.
Out of his self-sucking days, and he remembers that there are private servers for World of Warcraft, and that's about as massive as MMOs can get. Additionally,
yeah, true.
Was created by Blizzard, a company that Jason used to work for, if you haven't heard.
Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. So
he, of all people, should know this. But instead of acknowledging this as something that goes against his point, instead
he should know these guys, but I don't know how much he done at Blizzard. I've heard a lot of people say he wasn't that. He wasn't the best worker.
Somebody would go off and create a private server, and that private server would have problems. Do you know who gets tickets for it? The parent company that made the original game. Do you know how I know that? Because we got tens of thousands of tickets at Blizzard for private servers for World of Warcraft. This is the most uneducated take I have ever seen in games.
Now, I'm no Blizzard Nepo baby, all right? I'm a humble farmer. But Blizzard's own website has a dedicated page to remark on the fact that all private servers are against Blizzard's own terms of use, and they don't provide any assistance with private server issues. Now, maybe I'm being a bit daft here, okay? I did did excel in summer school, but I don't know what else this could mean other than that they don't provide assistance to private servers. I mean, maybe there are performance issues or bugs that could be revealed in a private server, but then again, that would still be a problem in the code for the base game. And it
Yeah,
wouldn't be
I agree
exclusive
with
to the
that.
private server. But putting his stupidity,
Yeah, he
and
doesn't
his
know much. I
dishonesty aside,
personally
see some bigger issues with Jason, because frankly, as a guy who has streamed before, I know that anyone can be dumb, wrong, or end up saying something that's just not true when going off on a live stream, okay? The real problem to me is that he outright states he's simply not willing to speak to Ross about potentially having misunderstood the movement. He's unwilling to even clarify his position.
If you're interested, I'd be fine with having a discussion with you on where we could at least clarify things, but your choice. I don't think I want to do that. And the reason why is this. It is because specifically your video that made me not interested in wanting to talk to you.
seriously, you don't want to have a conversation with a guy because you're not interested.
Right here, where you discuss reasons why your initiative could pass. And your description of this, I find to be disgusting.
Politicians like easy wins, and this doesn't require them to do much at all. And unless it involves gambling or protecting children, politicians generally don't care about video games. So this isn't of big consequence to them or most of their constituencies. EU law is already unclear on a lot of this practice anyway, and we would be making it easy for them to settle it. It falls in line with other consumer practices. You know, how when you buy something, you're generally allowed to keep it? And finally, this is a diversion from really serious topics that politicians would prefer not to deal with.
So politicians are going to put this forward because it's an easy win, they don't understand the subject matter, and it's a diversion from more serious issues. I don't have any respect for that. And I don't have any reason to have a conversation with you because of this.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Good luck.
What Ross said about politicians was pretty inoffensive, so I guess we can chalk this up to like the best made-up excuse Jason had to not engage with Stop Killing Games. Now,
I mean, that's a dumb reason not to engage. I would always engage.
Deleted, which Jason claimed
Somehow.
only happened if comments contained harassment or hate speech.
Oh yeah,
There
that's
was really
weird.
nothing in this comment that was hate speech. But due to how blunt and hostile Jason was, while Ross was kind of open and patient and sort of zen-like, this situation started to grow to unforeseen proportions, as you had other representatives of games preservation like Louis Rossman coming forward to address Jason's critiques against SKG and rebuttal. But despite a lot of backlash, not just from people who represented this movement, but also the gaming community at large, Jason did not admit that he was wrong. Instead,
Yeah.
he doubled down. Yeah.
Why would he double down?
Boost! Boost! Boost!
Hi, my name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as Pirate Software Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used
No, not really.
Entertainment, then Amazon Games.
There's a lot of lies he's talking right now.
Pirate Software, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been here for about 8 years now.
Now, while the actual contents of his criticism towards
I already know enough about his story, so yeah.
was that at the time, Jason was an unimaginably bigger figure, personality, influencer on Twitch and YouTube than anyone else who was supporting SKG. So you can imagine how frustrating it might be to have a huge content creator completely antagonize your movement before it can even get going.
Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction.
Fortunately, despite Jason doing his best to murder this campaign, Ross was equally headstrong, and he continued to promote SKG despite the mounting odds. And although he would never get the chance to talk directly to Jason, he instead released an indirect response video to every point that Jason had brought up to really clear the air on whatever Jason had said. In the format of an FAQ, he begins his video by taking responsibility for any misunderstanding regarding the movement's goals that people may have, and he then comprehensively presents his case for SKG. But despite his efforts to clarify things, this video only got a little over 100,000 views. While there was some progress,
That's not a lot.
involving the crew, by December, Ross was seemingly kind of aware of how.
I wish I wasn't so tired. That was what's killing me,
I
guys.
have a response from Canada on the petition. Unfortunately, they are passing the buck. What the response says is that, you know, this sounds important, let the provinces deal with it. That's a much smaller pool of people, to the point where I don't think it's going to influence things worldwide, even if we had a complete success, which, I mean, that I'd be surprised if we did.
In the comments, people remarked about how the signature count had been stationary for weeks, and the overall perspective people had was, well, at least we tried, right? At least we tried.
At least you
but
tried.
It seems like it's over. However well-intentioned and diligent Ross and everyone else involved in this movement was, it slowly started to sink in that it might be over, at least for the European initiative. Updates
Maybe. I mean, I don't know how they're going, guys. I don't know. Oh my god, I'm stiff as a board.
Controversy was being overshadowed by Pirate Software's other controversies. In January, it seemed like Ross and his company were diversifying their efforts, though, as they reopened the UK SKG campaign. The European petition required signatures from all countries in Europe, and the thing is, the majority of people involved with SKG spoke English, while
Did they?
countries in Europe have people who obviously don't.
Every friend group has at least 2 of the following.
The racist. The racist. The racist.
This made getting the required challenging from the get-go. But with the UK petition, the situation was different. First off, they only needed 100,000 signatures, and of course, since this is the UK we're talking about, it's much easier to reach them due to there being no real language barrier. At least we know our shillings in our school! Now, although they only had 6 months, this petition was very promising, and it only became more bold once they were met with a non-answer from the UK government, much like the last one was. Clearly, this pattern was becoming established. The institutions to whom these petitions were directed had a kind of playbook of default strategies to discourage and disengage people from raising the issue. Fortunately, it actually didn't work this time around, and the petition
That's good news.
Meanwhile, GOG, which is a platform I mentioned earlier, which is the only
Which I do use that, by the way, guys.
was in talks to openly promote SKG in their newsletter, but that ended up falling through.
That probably would have boosted our numbers, you know, within closing distance of the threshold. There was some delay on that, like some more back and forth, like, oh, we'll get back to you. Then finally in March, like I think like late March, we got a response saying, well, no, we can't put you on the newsletter because that's for commercial interest only. So we kind of got strung along for half a year on this.
And then Heineken,
It's gonna happen.
like Heineken beer of all companies, expressed an interest in promoting the campaign, but they could only do it long after the EU initiative deadline had passed, so it would be pointless.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Seemed like even when people expressed interest in pushing for SKG and the EU's petition success, they simply couldn't do anything about it. The fact is they needed the signatures, and by May, the EU initiative was just a couple of months away from its deadline, and they didn't have the signatures. So Ross decided it was time for a couple of Hail Mary attempts to get it back on track and just, you know, go for gold here, okay? The first one was a video titled 70% of games that require internet get destroyed. And although that sounds relatively accurate, as it goes over many of the games that have been made unplayable due to poorly handled end-of-life plans. But despite this being unusually inflammatory for Ross's standards, it failed to get any significant attention beyond what Ross usually gets. Basically, the EU initiative looked like it was a lost cause. So Ross decided to double back and revisit the Pirate Software drama, which was something that he had been dreading having to do.
This video came out right as we were building momentum, then except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork. This put me in kind of a no-win scenario too, because if I ignored it, then a lot of people are going to get misinformed about the campaign. But if I did a response video, which is not something I wanted to do anyway, then it might look like drama farming, which could understandably turn off a lot of people from the campaign, because it's not about that at all. So I quickly made this video trying to clear up all misconceptions and concerns about the initiative with timestamps for everyone's questions, hoping the truth would eventually come out. I can see now that was a mistake. I should have just embraced the drama. To this day, I'm still getting frequent comments and emails about the same falsehoods about the campaign that originated in this video. Well, now I have nothing to lose. If we don't get the signatures, then none of this matters anyway.
Although it had been nearly
True.
a year since it happened at this point, what Ross said here is true. Even if his FAQ video counted as a response, he always kind of remained out of the drama aspect of the online debate. But the thing is, if he were to have done a response when Jason had first spoken out about SKG, to the larger public, it could have looked like Ross, who was a smaller creator, was just trying to get the attention of Pirate Software and his audience because Jason was much more famous at that point in time. However, since their first engagement, since
Oh, goodness gracious, I mean, that.
Swords
Jason had gotten into like 7 other controversies that made everyone hate him, and so it was kind of open season on him at that point. Unsurprisingly, unlike most of his videos about SKG up until this point, Ross's video where he addresses the extremely hostile and ignorant attacks on SKG by Jason got over 800,000 views, and a lot of people were taking notice. Now keep in mind, this came out on June 23rd, 2025, just a little over a month before the EU initiative met its deadline and would no longer be able to accept signatures. It was going to be literally Jover. This is like Rocky getting up in the 14th round. It was unbelievable that this thing could still muster this much activity so long after its initial relevance. And if you scroll down to the comments, a lot of people were having their hope in the games industry single-handedly rekindled by one single thing: their hatred for pirate software. All these people suddenly became motivated to sign the petition despite their previous lack of belief that it would go anywhere, or their just unawareness of this even happening. If you scroll down to look at the comments on this video, there are hundreds of people announcing they would be signing it now. The tide had officially begun to turn. But the only question at this point was, would this be enough? Would this signature threshold get met, or would all of this momentum go to waste? Initially, it did look like it was going to be the latter, but then Jason decided to respond on Twitter. I could
Of course he did.
Fanning the flames here, but it's more like he was pouring paint thinner on a dumpster fire. What he actually says here is totally irrelevant. What matters is that he decided not only to respond, but also to double down and accuse Ross and his community of being toxic and hostile to him. Although I'm sure some people were nasty to him. You know, a lot of people have been nasty to pirate software. It's not at all obvious to me that these people were related to Ross or SKG. At this point, there were much better reasons to hate Jason than his opposition to stop killing games. More importantly, even in his direct response video, Ross is completely polite and reasonable, while Jason frequently throws insults and belittles the entire thing and just kind of acts like a dick.
So this was my first encounter of him.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No. Eat my entire ass. Like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move.
Why the hell are you on Twitter for 12 hours?
I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I dropped the mask entirely.
Oh, yeah. I can see why people like him. It's like listening to Mr. Rogers.
Outside of this, Jason acknowledges literally nothing that Ross said, and he really turns a blind eye to any corrections of his misunderstandings of the petition.
Yeah, it sounds like he's
literally asking for it, okay? He was turned around. He had his hands in that thing, just ripping it open, going, "Come inside!" And he was about to get it. This tweet immediately made its way into extreme online infamy. And although it's kind of impossible to verify because Jason has taken everything related to it down due to how much hate he got, I think he got a lot of pushback. Of course, I'm not telling you to go send hate to or interact with Jason, but here we do have one of the most transparent cases of someone going out of their way to attract negative attention and then complaining that they're suffering the consequences of it. While someone getting their stuff handed to them online is pretty common, very seldom does it come with the side effect of building something else up. Usually it is a purely destructive thing, but in this case, Jason's self-immolation made him into a nuclear battery for SKG. Honestly, it's kind of brilliant to use a lolcow as fuel. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Very few things are as
I know, GameStar seems to be using it for Boogie. I mean,
amulet. I'm not even going to show you a picture.
I actually might watch a little bit of Locale before we finish up, by the way. Just the live one, not with Ryan or anything else.
Into a deeper hole while pretending that he didn't brazenly misconstrue everything related to SKG. But this time, the world was watching, and Ross had a lot of support.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us!
Namely, Moist Critical Charlie had become hands-on about the situation, and unsurprisingly, Jason was pretty quick to humble brag about exchanging DMs with him. I think this gave him the delusion that he was going to be like further ingratiated with big
Charlie. Penguin Zero. He's one of my favorites as well, guys. I like watching him.
And that video was basically
not because he's got 17.2 million people. Because he's just a good guy. I mean, he's good at talking.
Software for 2 whole hours, and they got absolutely nowhere because Jason was being unreasonable. Being the
Why am I not surprised?
He is, all right. Jason decided to leak screenshots of their DMs to his not-so-private Discord server.
You're not supposed to do that.
And so Charlie made a second video focusing specifically on how irrational...
No, it's 17.1 million. I thought it was 17.2.
And this video currently sits at 4.5 million views.
And then not being refuted, and now it's my fault that everything is going wrong for them.
I cannot believe his ego. His ego is so out of control, I feel like he's only a week or two away from exclusively referring to himself in third person, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that's the truth, because Pirate Software said so.
To put it simply, Jason had overplayed his hand. And fortunately, the consequences of this turned out to be that despite being just 1 month away from the deadline, the EU initiative was set off for the moon. From game studios and SteamDB to massive YouTubers like PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, the inventor of Skibbity Toilet, Reddit, Kiwi Farms, Elon Musk.
Man, oh God, Elon Musk.
Out from every conceivable direction, and almost miraculously, the signatures started piling up. First, it was the UK petition, which wasn't even the focus of the conversation, but it immediately went on hyperdrive. It went from over 17,000 signatures on June 23rd to over 40,000 signatures just 3 days later. It got to 100K, and
that's actually a lot.
And by the time the deadline came, it was sitting at 190,000. Meanwhile,
holy crap, that's a lot.
Also took off, at one point getting over 100,000 signatures in a single day. Ross himself seemed pretty shocked with the state of affairs, as he had basically given up hope, only to see his initiative come back to life. And it was like a zombie on meth. It was just so much. Over the course of just a few days, the initiative blasted past 1 million signatures, and then it approached its final destination over 3 weeks before the deadline. And as good as all of this sounded, it's at this point that the opponents of SKG started power scaling beyond Pirate Software. Just as these signatures moved past 1.2 million, which is 200,000 short of the goal, Ross announced that the initiative had made some new enemies.
For anyone who doubts how powerful this initiative can be, we now have a lobbying group issuing a statement about us. Do you think if we had no chance of changing things, we would have lobbyists coming out against us? Well, a big one is Video Games Europe. Best I can tell, this is essentially the voice of the industry. So of course they're going to be against any proposal we make, because
of course
they're opposed to us being able to retain our games.
To summarize the points that this lobbying group made, they're not really innovative. First, they act like the initiative is retroactive and that future games being made with end-of-life plan in mind is simply undoable. Then, they claim that what players or server runners do on unsupported private servers may leave the company who owns the game liable for a lawsuit, which is kind of a bizarre claim. I'm no legal expert, but unless the company is actively fostering that illegal behavior or material, there's no grounds for it to be held against them. And in the case of a game having its support,
yeah, like I said, guys, I'm paying a lot of attention to this because I'm not too
point onward. So like, why would they be held responsible? That just makes no sense. Clearly, this was yet another attempt to kind of duct tape together some sort of defense against SKG by industry reps, and it just was not enough. So their next line of defense came in the form of 2 false accusations against the initiative, essentially claiming that Ross's involvement with it made it ineligible.
The EU Commission relayed a complaint of it committing 2 violations. Yikes! A false no funding declaration and systematic concealment of major contributions. This declaration appears fundamentally incorrect based on publicly documented evidence.
Oh, I don't know.
Professional contributions.
I definitely gotta look at this. What's it called? Accursed Farms.
To me, but I don't know everything that's going on with the initiative.
Give me a second, guys. I want to check it on my YouTube now, do I? Damn, it's on this YouTube. Give me a second. Drop it over here. Go to YouTube. I want to put it in there. Dun, 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 dun. I'm enjoying this. It's actually a good one. Compared to the one before, yesterday we did last time, that was terrible. This one's much better. Is he still there? Yep, there he is at the very top. Gotta keep an eye on it.
What's this about?
Oh shit, we're almost at the end. I didn't realize we're that far.
Evidence, everyone. What do we have here? A quote, there have been many weeks on the campaign where I've been working 12 to 14 hours a day to keep things moving to get signatures. Damn straight I have. That is true. I've been running a rickshaw carrying people to the destination. Yes, I did say those words. It's unclear to me if the accuser thinks I've literally been running a rickshaw service or not. And you know what? I'm not gonna tell them. they can guess that for themselves.
These claims go on to say that Ross has essentially been hired to work 12 to 14 hours a day for 15 to 20 weeks for 50 to 75 euros an hour to promote the initiative. Whoever wrote this is straight up smoking on some Scooby-Doo dick, if you ask me.
Smoking that Whoopi Goldberg South Egyptian Fur Burger Deluxe Mega Million Scratcher Skunk Bubba.
My God, I keep going.
Beetle. I'm on 12 Vicodins smoking on Scooby-Doo dick.
I have absolutely no idea
Okay.
where they got these figures from or what would even
There goes my
someone to
monetization.
claim this absurd. I assume it's just desperation and trying to stop the initiative in any way they can. But the thing is, as Ross points out, the EU's own rules about this lay out that non-financial support or volunteering isn't considered sponsors, and thus it is allowed whether they're European citizens or not. Additionally, right around the time this happened, Ubisoft also spoke out, once again acting as if SKG and the initiative were demanding support for games to go on forever. I guess this is just the essence of politics, really, on the ground level.
Yeah, that's where they are.
For one specific thing, and then the people who can provide it pretend that they're not.
Oh yeah, after this, guys, we're going to do some local live. We'll see what's going on with Boogie. I think Boogie's in trouble.
Just days before the deadline.
I'm definitely going to do more local live stuff because that's a very popular podcast, and I think it's good.
Become available for Europeans, meaning that there were even.
Then I do gaming stuff later in the day. I don't know if I'll be doing any today. Probably, I don't know yet. Maybe.
Final official update on the EU initiative, a victory lap.
This video is a bit awkward since a little over a month ago, I made one called The End of Stop Killing Games. And this is a wrap-up to Stop Killing Games. In my defense, when I made that, I really did think that was close to the end for what Stop Killing Games could influence. But since we didn't accomplish everything, I wanted to go down swinging. Well, through dumb luck, that video swung so hard it changed the timeline.
Very wisely, he doesn't just celebrate the win, as despite having the initiative reach over 1.4 million signatures, this was just the first step toward their ultimate goal. So Ross begins to lay out the next strategies to further their objectives. Also in the video, Ross goes over another recent controversy.
All right, yeah, it was Steam.
Involving payment processors.
Oh yes, this is a whole issue too.
Or itch.io. Into deleting games that are considered inappropriate. In some cases, the games being removed could fall into the category of things people paid for and now can't use, and thus, this would also be subject to the same protections that SKG is pushing for. So,
yeah, I agree with that.
Ross and SKG had won.
If we win, great. If we lose, but I still gave it my best effort, I can live with that. I mean, even if we lose, I want everyone involved to own it. So if the EU says there's no problem with publishers killing games you paid for, fine. I want to hear them say that terms like these are considered legal and completely fair under Directive 9313 EEC, which is supposed to protect consumers against unfair terms and mass-produced contracts. If consumer protections never really existed for video games this whole time, and the EU Commission wants to keep it that way, then let's hear them say it so the whole world knows. They could have saved me a lot of time and effort. I think there's a serious chance we could win, though, somewhere.
This kind of grassroots movement, which is spearheaded by a regular gamer guy who simply decided he would stand up to a global industry, is the kind of thing that's almost too sappy to be true. It's almost like this just doesn't happen. And keep in mind, this is all thanks to Pirate Software, whose concentrated arrogance was really the rocket fuel to make this.
I mean, yeah, he's completely useless.
This are written, there should be a statue erected in Jason's honor. Maybe we can make a statue of his furry avatar, Moldavia's fig tree, with the like the top hat and like a suit and shit, like a one slur that's also a dog, that's also a person, that something like that. Just like the man who was so unbelievably dense and arrogant that he saved video games inadvertently. None of this would be possible without the entire online community using his reputation as a stepping stone to get something done. While obviously this movement isn't entirely out of the woods yet, and the hammer can come down any day and execute the movement in one fell swoop, the point has been made, and it's honestly impressive just how much work can be done when people work together. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching this video.
I did enjoy it. There was a lot of information that I did not know about. That's why I was so quiet.
So I appreciate everybody who subscribes.
So yeah, guys, if I'm really quiet when we're watching these, I'm just taking it in. Now, my big issue, guys, is I'll get bored like watching it. So I'll play with my phone every so often. It doesn't mean I'm not listening to it, though. I'm always listening. I'll just get a little bit bored there and there. But yeah, let's watch some local live before I finish today. I'll be doing these 3 times a week, guys. I want to do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's the plan going forward. All right, let's do Local Live because there's some fun going on. There's some tomfoolery going on Local Live. I'm always going to go Local Live because it's one of my favorite podcasts. Let's turn the recording back on. Guys, we're going to watch a little bit of Local Live. This one probably won't be super long. No bad to how we've been now. I just want to see how we're going. All right.
I was late. L's in chat for late. Here we go. Here we go.
All right. Oh boy, why does he change the song?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Local Live. Keemstar has officially told me to figure it out, and he has no clue if he's coming back or when. So I have figured it the fuck out. I have reached out to Tommy. I have reached out to Jordy, and I've got the wheels moving because if Keem's not here, Jordy and Tommy are willing to be. And there is a chance that not tonight, they're not going to do it tonight, but that tomorrow we will get the reunion show you've been waiting for. Not only that, but Roblox continues to go batshit crazy, banning people for finding predators in their community. Children are going missing.
I like the song, guys. That's why I'm.
And I swear to God, it's not me. It's not me.
It is you.
It's someone else.
It's always Boogie.
And a lot more on Local Live. Also, Batgirl's here for some reason.
Oh, that's mean.
My co-host.
It's gonna be one of his many co-hosts.
So this is effectively Cafe 2.0.
Oh my God! Stop shitting all over Cafe.
Let's get right into the hangout stream.
Oh God, Kim is going to kill him. Kim is going to murder him when he comes back.
Where is that? That just doesn't sound right without Keem here, does it? Does that let me stop. Let me try that again. We'll play it, okay? But it shouldn't be the Queen Xylee song without Keemstar here.
What's going on here? What's going on? All right, we're starting. Let's see what's going on.
God, that seems like that AI song changed a little bit, huh?
Yeah, he probably changed it.
Yeah, it's bad. But what was I working with? I had to work off the original one. Cream. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You are watching Local Live, the worst podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, I believe that. Okay. Why is Alsali here already?
Worse now that I'm here.
Fuck that song you just played. Play the King Boogie song.
I don't have it anymore. Someone has to send it to me.
You don't have it anymore. It's your song.
I know. I don't know how to find it anymore. Thank you, community manager. If I have it, if I find it, I'll play it. We'll play it, okay? But it shouldn't be the Queen Xylee song right now because you have been named community manager.
Not only is she the wartime reporter, but she is now our community manager.
Rastoff didn't want the job, so he just keeps saying no.
Message saying you hate me, don't you?
Yes. Clearly he does.
Come on, it's not that bad.
See, this is what
Yes, it
happened.
is.
We pushed back on Keem, right? We didn't all roll over. Rastov pushed back, Billy pushed back, you pushed back, I pushed back, and now look what we're dealing with.
Yeah, he kind of quit.
You know what you and I can do?
What?
We could tear this motherfucker apart.
You're right.
Burn
You're
it
right.
down! Burn it down!
You're right, because I woke up. I'm
Ready.
seeing all these L's in chat. I woke up at 6 a.m. I started talking to Jordy. I started talking to Tommy. We have done everything we can to get them on the show today. And I'm telling you right up front, they will not be here today. So if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be. One of them has confirmed for tomorrow, though.
Okay, good.
And as long as that one has
Oh, well, that's not bad, guys. So he's bringing back the old crew. So Tommy C or Wings? It's probably going to be Tommy C, if anything, because I think it'd be good, guys, to have something new because they kind of need someone else. Keemstar, listen, I like Keemstar, but he's so much of a bitch. He is. He complains way too much and too easily, and I know he's doing this on purpose. He's doing this for entertainment. That's what he's doing it for, guys. It's not that he complains or anything. He's doing this on purpose. Now, if he comes back and end up, he did have a cry, that would be a bad thing.
Now confirmed, the other one should confirm as well.
That's good. That'll be a banging show.
Yes, so it should be a good interview. But what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at Tommy's appearance on Rewind last night. We're going to take a look at the Wings clips, what he said after I donated on his stream yesterday. And we're going to look at
I'm bored.
children missing in West Virginia. Sorry, in Virginia.
What was your inspiration for Isaac? All of the characters.
I don't care.
Real chance he will not come back. Because since he fuck off.
Don't care. Don't care about Wings, guys. Wings is boring.
We'll walk away and let her host for a while. I will. I'll pull a Keemstar and piss everything. Then, had I not started practicing a couple weeks back,
Gaming with Ultra super chatted $20. Dream.
Yo, let's go, Batgirl!
Fucking Kraken, bitch! Come on,
how
let's
strong
fucking
is
go.
Kraken?
Oh, what?
How strong is Kraken?
94 proof.
Okay, small
Gaming
shots.
with Ultra super chatted $20. Drink.
That's 2? Yeah, Ultra wants you drunk for some reason. You know she's probably married or something, right?
I am married.
Yeah, okay.
Because, somebody found me interesting enough to marry me. So, wow, imagine that. Fucking imagine that.
I've met your husband, and honestly, you're his type, I think.
What the fuck does that mean? You gonna back that up? You gonna back that up, Boogie?
He's really bad at Magic the Gathering. Let me just leave it that way.
Gaming
That
with
game,
Ultra
I heard
super
about
chatted $20.
That's 3. That's 3.
Ultra, what the fuck is wrong with you? Wait, it's not 94 proof. Then what the fuck does this say? What the fuck does this say?
I'm gonna Google it.
It's 94. It's not.
It says 94 proof right fucking here.
But I don't care.
Well-intentioned, these vigilantes we've banned have taken action.
Oh, this is something interesting.
They don't want people seeking them out.
So this is Roblox, guys. So what they're talking about is the Roblox drama.
These vigilantes we've banned
Call it.
have taken actions that are both unacceptable and create an unsafe environment for users. And they say similar to actual predators. They often impersonate minors, actively approached other users, then tried to lead them to other platforms to have adult conversations with them.
Yeah, well, you should not be doing that. You should not be going on Roblox or Minecraft or any of those things doing that kind of shit. That's disgusting. I hate this type of thing, guys. This is why I hate Roblox, guys. This is why I don't play it. Because I don't want to put my community, because I've got a bit of a community, and I don't want to put the younger guys in risk. That's why I don't play Roblox. I'll probably never stream it until they fix their shit up.
Literally can't. These clips are fucked. But I'll try. Let's see if
Boogie, you got a lot of work to do, okay, dude? But you're doing better than you used to. You're doing okay.
And they were fine yesterday, so I don't know why they're not today. Isn't that great? Isn't that great?
Lovely.
I'll make
Technology
desktop
just fucking cucks you.
even louder. Let's see if that helps. Why we're removing vigilantes, we have monitored vigilante activity on Roblox for some time. These groups began by reporting safety concerns, commenting on news. That's boring. That's boring. The importance of accurate reporting. Hope Roblox remove bad actors. They literally want you to start reporting, including reporting vigilantes. They want you to stop people from stopping people. And then hopefully this is my favorite clip. If this is the correct clip.
I'd like to hear this.
No, this is the Louisiana attorney going after it. Where's the fucking... Please, it's not that one. That's the fucking...
Oh, goodness gracious. You can tell Boogie's new at this.
Oh, I did want to show you this too, by the way. For transparency, we are sharing more information. They got community noted. Roblox has a known history of refusing to take action against sexual child predators, and then they give a bunch of examples of that. So Roblox is officially harboring it at this point.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're a terrible company, guys. And I'm going to talk about Roblox. Probably in its own video. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about it. I totally forgot all about it, and I want to make a video on it. I'll probably make it on today.
Okay, this is it. Watch this. If you want to know how long it takes you to see something inappropriate in Roblox, this is how long it takes. This content creator created a fresh account, brand new. Here you go.
Okay, so I've just made a fresh account, brand new Roblox account. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join Meep City. And I just want to see how long it takes until I see something inappropriate in the game. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and join on in. This is a fresh account. All right, never played on it before. And, yep, there's a penis. So.
Wow. All right.
20 seconds to see a penis in a child's game.
Yeah, that sounds like a real child's game, Roblox. Congratulations.
In Roblox. Why? How? Why?
I don't fucking know.
That's very weird.
Huh?
I realize it's not full screen. There it is, right here. That's a penis. That's a penis.
I want to know who the motherfuckers are that are running Roblox.
I swear to God, they need to be canned.
Yeah, I think they're
They need someone who knows what they're friggin' doing.
For sure, there has to be at least some in there.
I feel like with the lawsuit from Louisiana, they're gonna have to like subpoena Discovery, all of that shit. So there's definitely going to be details of what the internal memos.
Yeah, I think they need to be looked at, guys. We will look at it ourselves on a video, not a stream, because I don't think it's necessary.
They, kept Schlep banned. They are threatening legal action at this point. So it's they are ready to double down on child predators, which is not great.
Isn't
All right, let's get going. All right.
Don't be mean.
She's
All right.
mine forever with that blue heart ring on her finger. Keep
Beaver, I like that one.
folks. And this, you want to see mental illness on display? This is worse than the incel subreddit was back in the day, and they banned the incel subreddit.
Something.
So
wow,
marrying your AI is the. It's well. Do you remember Anita Sarkeesian? She married herself.
Would be.
Don't care.
Keem was trying to fire him off Lolcow Live and was going about every way to get him to leave, and that's why he left. He said because he felt like Keem was just trying to get him out.
And that might have very well been the case. Only Keem and Tommy would know that, but I would love to hear Tommy say exactly that.
Yeah.
But the way it was told to me was he was considering quitting because he felt like it wasn't good enough of a show, and he
Oh, was Kane lying? He wouldn't do that. Guys, been known he does it all the time.
Tommy, right?
You want to hear it from him.
Right. And then, of course, the show blew up, and then Keem took Tommy's seat and then built this entire thing. And now Keem has decided to fucking vacate the premises. So I say, you want to know who the real seat warmer might have been this whole time?
Who?
Might have been Keem. Might have been keeping the spot warm for fucking Tommy. I don't think Tommy's interested. I doubt he would be. I think it's lucky that he would even give me the time of day for tomorrow's show. Even if it's 20 minutes tomorrow.
I do know he's talking about retiring from his Shot from the Point show.
Yeah.
He's talking about wrapping it up, so who knows?
Why? Why, though? Do you know? What did he say?
I think he just said he's done so much, and it's kind of like at its natural end. He's just tired of that.
Reached his peak.
Yeah, okay, that's Tommy C. It's good.
Pokey Gaga.
Don't care.
Damning Hemi.
The best boogie.
The community manager.
All right, we're about to hear the best song they ever made.
No, and I don't even know how to do that.
The King Boogie song is in the live on air chat for this room, by the way, so you can play a King Boogie song, make yourself feel like a king.
Okay, all right, okay, it's on live on air right now.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what Xylee told me. The community manager.
Okay, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna play it right now.
There it is, right there. I love this song, guys. This was the best song they ever made. They made a few good ones. But yeah. One of the best songs, guys. Hilarious, guys. This is funny ass. Why has she got Kane written on across her head? These dogs are wondering what the hell is he doing? Yeah, I think it's a good song, guys. It's a fantastic song. I mean, if I had more room, guys, I would dance to it like these guys would, but I don't have the room. My bed's right next to me. Oh, this is what I want to hear.
I figured it out. I've been trying to do a good job. Yes. I'm hiring local
my
alerts.
God.
Burn it down! Burn it down! Local
I hope
alerts
Henry
are live on
likes
the air.
his
I'm
name
eating
on the thread.
food and drinking soda and letting my
Oh, no, I don't like this guy. I do not like alerts.
I'm locked out. I'm going to burn it down. Everybody that wants to be in here, get in here.
Why does he look weird? I don't know. All right. Local alert, God, dude. I don't know why, but you just don't look right. You look like you're trying to look like Kane. That's what he's. That's what he looks like. He looks like Kane, a young version of Kane. I think he's trying to be a Kane wannabe, and that's kind of sad.
Every member, I'm bringing every member up at once. If you
Stick people's senses. Heavy.
real, for real,
Right now.
Oh crap!
Anyone can
for
kick.
real,
It might be me.
anybody,
He might kick
who
me
knows?
Too many people to.
Where the fuck?
Here's the thing, guys. When they put like more than a certain amount of people, I can't watch it. It becomes unwatchable. Let's be honest. We all know that, don't we? It's unwatchable.
Dude, where's the dog?
Be her. That would be her. Like, never mind. I'm not gonna. That would be her.
Her doctor money, but
Years now, maybe 10.
Oh.
Oh, where did he go? Who knows? We're just going through it bit by bit, guys. See what interesting.
You don't have to worry about it.
No, for real.
Oh, great! Now you got pretty much everyone. So you got the locale live people, and you got locale balls on the one side. So they're all pretty close. Billy, Rastov, and Boogie. Considering ages a while ago, Boogie hated Rastov, and now they're pretty much like, well, I wouldn't say best friends, but I'll say good friends. Billy and Rastov are best friends, so.
2 more times, right? I'm just done. Then we just, I guess we end. Because you can only get kicked 3 times.
You can't get perma-kicked from your own show. They can kick you an unlimited amount of
Okay,
times.
all right. We're
Just
going to do
past my
one Dungeons & Dragons Commander Pack.
Oh, okay.
See who gets the best rares.
Let me get that.
Seriously, we're watching someone unpack
This. I like.
cards. I can't really talk. I like it, so.
Open myself. I
this
feel
will
so
be the
left out.
downfall.
This is the
Locale Live
official
becomes the
downfall.
Magic the Gathering.
This is what happens when Keem's not here.
He's not gonna be happy about this.
Guiding Bolt. It's
Ooh,
3.
that's so
3. It's balls invoke or some shit. I don't know. These are all commons. I'm just going to the
All right, let's go to the end, guys. We don't want to watch that part.
Be big dog.
fans. Oh, this isn't the back.
Rest.
All right, I don't.
And it fucking sucks. Made me turn.
Look at Boogs. Boogie looks like he needs Keemstar. I mean, I don't even think if he does really need Keemstar. I think he's doing this on purpose. But Boogie's, listen, regardless how you think of his past, and he's done some shitty stuff, I'm not going to lie. But at the moment, I kind of like Boogie. I don't have a hatred for him because he's funny.
And Keem will fucking hate me. I don't care.
Bad Goral, you left the stream running and no one is here to end it. Damn, she has her AirPods on so she can't hear me. So, chat, how's your local weather? Seen any ladies in bikinis? God, I can't wait for fall.
Oh my God, redirect.
Super chatted $20. What did you say to Rastov in CD? Be entertaining.
I'm trying.
Rastov, don't save this pause. Remember what he used to say.
I'm
to
trying,
you to put
but
you on the spot.
Rastov, I'm not good at being a host. See,
Wings, 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 wings.
we can't even go to his chat and say hello.
Wings doesn't want to be here, Boogie. Why are you trying to force that motherfucker to come over here?
Shut up.
I'm treating you like shit. Neither is Boogie treating you like shit. Boogie tongue kissed you for fuck's sakes.
It was never meant to be.
Okay.
Hey. Yeah.
I think Wings would probably the biggest deal.
Oh, damn. There was one here where they kicked him out. I'm trying to find out where that was. Yeah, it was here. This is the funny part.
Man, if he's teaching me a lesson fucking learned.
What's the lesson to be learned here, though?
To lock it in! Get locked in! We're doing a show! You wish you hadn't eaten all those fucking bananas? No, I do like a good stress banana.
Stress bananas are always good.
I went to the 7-Eleven convenience store last night. Oh shit, Lunchbox is Billy, kick him again.
Lunchbox super
Bye,
chatted
Boogie.
$50.
Lunchbox,
Really
you
kick him
can't
again.
kick me from my own show. This is stupid. It's
I know,
stupid
I
to
can't.
do it.
Watch this.
I can't. This is what happens when I do.
They kicked him. They kicked him. That's funny as shit. Oh, God. Oh, it's gonna be there. I'm gonna be. Right. All right. What's going on? They kicked you, you retard. Seriously.
I'm here now.
No, you're not.
I know it's not much of a difference, but
It's
you know,
better
here
than
we are.
nothing. Jesus Christ.
I'm close enough to nothing, Boogie.
Okay, all right. They hate me. You carry it. You carry it now.
They don't hate you. They just like the.
The big. I don't know what.
All right, I think that was it. Yep, that was all. Okay, let's finish it up. All right, guys, let's finish it up here. I'm finished the stream in total because it was pretty funny. But yeah, as you can see, Boogie's not doing very well. He needs Keem. Blue Cow needs Keem, guys. Keem is the glue that holds them together. Until Boogie gets a little bit better, I think he's got the potential to do much better, but he's got to like. He needs to learn how to talk to the audience, do the docket properly, talk about him a bit more clearly, do the stories. That's what Keem does. Now, Keem has his own way of telling stories. What's it? Turkey Tom has his way of doing things. Penguin Zero. Everyone else has their own way. He's got to discover his own way of talking. Even on that note, I'm going to finish it here, guys, because I'm done for today. I am absolutely done. I don't know what I'll stream tonight. I might not. We'll see how we go, guys. Cheers. The recording's done, and now I'm just going to finish up the stream. Definitely. So we're back on Monday, guys, for this particular stream, because I do it 3 times a week. I was going to do it 4, but I thought 3 times a week it makes it more sense. I'm always doing Let's Plays. There's always going to be one Let's Play, a normal video, and it's probably going to be normal Let's Plays as a stream. There's something else to do. Because if I just did this, guys, I'll have nothing else to do. I'll go